Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, we're going to do a fun one. We're going to rank some platinum trophies. Now, I have earned about 32, I think it is, platinum trophies, all 100%. There would be platinums. If they had a platinum, they were 100% instead, of course. So, let's jump in. Let's see how they pit it out. They fight against one another for that ultimate top dog spot. Now, I will be honest, the rules will be made up as they go. There will be no consistencies whatsoever, but that's part of the fun of symmetry, so let's dive in, shall we? Alrighty, and so let's get the ball rolling here with our tier, shall we? So, the top tier, 10 out of 10, wood plat again. These are the ultra rares that I really enjoyed, whether that was because I played them with friends, whether I thought the trophy list was engaging with the right sort of balance of challenging but also still fun, because those two things can be different. Whether or not there was some boosts, you know, all that sort of jazz to hit that top spot. Essentially the platinums here that I think are the best of the best. We then get into great fun. These are ones I enjoyed, not quite as much as the tier above, but enough that I probably would consider going back and doing them again, especially for a video on this channel. It was okay as next. Now, these are the platinums that ultimately they were pretty good, you know. I didn't mind them. They left a positive impression on me, but that's sort of the extent. Meh is our middle sort of mid-ground. I mean, the name says exactly what it is. They were meh, they were okay, nothing bad, nothing good, just sort of middle of the road. Rough is next. These are platinums I didn't particularly enjoy and were fairly rough experiences. Wouldn't do them again, unless it was for a video, of course. Next up's probably the most set in stone rank off the cab, Resident Evil Resistance rank. I wonder what game will be put in that spot. And lastly is the couple ultra rares here that I did use exploits for, so I couldn't really give a proper criticism or critique of these games. These are games that I really can't say much about because I used exploits that sort of made their platinums significantly easier. So, let's start off the list with Killzone Shadowfall. So Killzone Shadowfall, let me think about this for a second. What do we have? We had a balance of multiplayer and campaign. Now, it was the fourth mainline game in the Killzone series. I actually think the first three games are significantly better than Shadowfall. I don't like quite a lot of Shadowfall, actually. I don't like that they went that sort of special ops soldier as opposed to boots on the ground, part of a larger force. So the campaign was probably very forgettable for me outside of that sort of launch PS4 era where we had a lot of sort of emphasis of the touchpad on the DualShock 4 being how you interact with your companion robot. This was how I believe you did quite a lot of your abilities. That was kind of okay. It was kind of a nice gimmick. I think from memory you used the touchpad to sort of slide in the direction you wanted, and give or take what you slid with your finger was the ability that you then used. Now the multiplayer in this it was okay. I played a bit of it at launch where obviously that was against humans, and then I went back and did a lot of the trophies years later for the trophies. Obviously I boosted them against bots. They weren't particularly fun, especially what I will say is games that have 100% on top of their platinum. I am considering that 100% as well, and some of these DLCs were pretty rough. So I'm going to put Killzone Shadowfall in... Oh, it's one of these two. Was it a negative experience, or did I just kind of find it very middle of the road? I think I'm going to put it in meh from now. It was okay. There was some positives. It looked very pretty. It had a single player. That's always fun in a first-person shooter. And the multiplayer for what it was okay. But some of those DLCs were rough. And see, I also did the standalone DLC, which was an additional trophy list outside of the Killzone Shadowfall trophy list, that then added more rough stuff to it, which I really couldn't recommend at all. But I think I'm going to leave it in meh for now. We'll sort of see how it pans out. Predator Hunting Grounds is next. That goes in great fun. So I actually really love this game. I really like the Predator universe. I love the first movie. The second movie with Danny Glover is good fun. Predators is really underrated in my opinion. They didn't make a fourth movie directed by Shane Black. That doesn't exist. But Prey is fantastic. And so I obviously got into this game around that sort of same time as the hype for Prey especially. And I really enjoyed it. This is one that I thought was genuinely pretty fantastic. The trophy list is purely multiplayer. However, you can do a lot of it with bots. In terms of the bot stuff, it is a little bit repetitive. You've got to do things like 100 wins, various different sort of kills with the predators, level up characters, stuff like that. And a lot of that does get fairly repetitive, but there is a lot of modifiers that sort of make it fun. You can do things like the big head bobblehead modes and stuff like that. I liked a lot of the customization with the predators and also the mercenaries, and also just playing this with other people is really, really fun. I do think that the predator is severely underpowered, and a regular player playing as the predator is going to be murdered in 4 seconds flat. I learnt that the hard way. However, I will say that a quality predator player will absolutely destroy you very quickly as well. So there is sort of that sort of, okay, I've got to get good to play this character. I thought the trophy list represented the game really well. Shout out to Banana Sausage and my friend Bruce Man for helping me with some of the trophies where you absolutely need another player. I think there's a couple where you have to kill some players simultaneously where you can't really use bots for these. You actually do need a couple extra players. But yeah, I'm putting this in great fun. This is a game I've been very tempted to redo on the on this channel. Call of Duty Ghosts is next. Oh, it's a Call of Duty game. It's a lesser Call of Duty game. I'm going to put this in meh as well. The story of Ghosts is okay. It's certainly nothing special. Again, special ops sort of soldier, not necessarily post-apocalyptic, but essentially some big political moves have been made. The world is sort of in chaos. There's been some sort of new governments and stuff like this formed in the wake of large militias taking over certain countries and things. That's all interesting. It ended on a cliffhanger that we will never see again. I really think that this story is fairly just meh. It's very middle of the road. Probably the most positive thing from me, and it's something that I think is very not shared by the general community, is I actually didn't mind the multiplayer. The maps are way too big. I will absolutely agree with everyone on that. However, they are kind of fun. Like Stonehenge is kind of fun to play some of the modes on. I played a lot of it in my first year of university, and that was all good fun. That's some sort of very fond memories. Extinction mode is actually not bad either. I don't mind it. I do wish it had sort of been fleshed out a bit more and maybe there'd be a bit more depth to it. The story is an absolute ride, but some of the DLC maps, such as the Navy boat, were actually a lot of fun. I had quite a lot of fun going for that full 100%. So yeah, I'm going to put this in meh. The positives certainly don't outweigh the negatives. I kind of just think this is a very middle-of-the-road, similar sort of thing to Shadowfall. Resident Evil Resistance is next. And that's where it goes. Now, back when I played this game, I could talk all day about my experiences with Resident Evil Resistance. When I played this game, you were server locked as to the killer and the other players. So an Australian killer could only play with a lobby that had an Australian host, I believe. I think that's how it worked. And also you couldn't get the same killer every hour. I think once you had him, there was then a cooldown of 60 minutes. So boosting this with other people was a nightmare for me. I very quickly fell behind everyone else because I could only boost every hour as opposed to everyone else who could sort of get a bit more progress. You do need a group of people. You can't do this by yourself. The game is very dead at this point, and if you do run into a killer, they're going to be an insane level and slaughter you in 4 seconds before you can make any real progress. The trophies are really specific as to what they need you to do, which I don't really have a problem with. I actually kind of like when trophies are unique. However, a lot of these were stuff that was you needed a lot of coordination to do. You had a very tight window to actually do them typically because there's also a timer on the map. So even if you're doing the killer related stuff, oftentimes you kind of needed the other guys to delay the map as long as possible and complete enough objectives to delay that timer for you to actually be able to set up what you needed to do as well. I found that this was that typical trophy boost where you had that 1 or 2 people who just could not communicate at all, and would sort of go off and do their own things, which would absolutely derail the boost. The only thing Resident Evil has going for it, outside of being a Resident Evil game, is that it's relatively short. I think it took about 20 hours for everyone to get the 100%. Everyone did get the 100%, so that's a positive outcome. But this is one of those games that sort of really lent me into never boosting a full multiplayer game again. The Forest is next. The Forest is going into great fun as well. I love this game. It is an open world survival game where you crash land on an unknown island, and you need to find your son, who I think everyone on the internet has affectionately called Timmy, and I think that's a PewDiePie thing from memory. But Timmy's been lost. He's been taken by an unknown group of people, and you're going to sort of uncover the story as you go by going into caves, finding more equipment that'll let you sort of progress deeper into caves. So there's things like a diving kit that'll allow you to breathe underwater for a certain amount of time. So you're going to be able to explore the sort of underwater cave networks and things like that, which is really interesting. The trophy list is a lot of fun. Some of the trophies here are actually a nightmare though. Things like cutting down 1,000 trees. That essentially resorts to loading in the creative mode and creating a lot of bombs and just sort of blowing up as many trees as possible and hoping you don't completely crash the game. But the game itself is amazing. This game is very fun with other people as well. I have at times just hopped in to help other people earn the trophies because it is so much fun to sort of set up a base. And if you're like me, there's good odds that you're going to go full cannibal in the process, and that sort of leads to its own sort of wild things. I really like the enemy system in this game as well, wherein the longer that you're out in the world, the more difficult the enemies become. So sort of different enemies are time gated by the number of days that you've been playing. And some of those late game enemies, they can destroy your base in 4 seconds flat, which really hurt my soul as someone who put a lot of time and effort into my bone chandeliers. Definitely don't be stranded on an island with me is what I'm saying. But fantastic game. I adore The Forest. This is one of those ones where I do actually want to do another video, or a 100% review at some point for this game, because I think it would be a lot of fun to go back and give this one another go at some point. Battlefield 5 is next. It was okay, actually. I like Battlefield 5. I think of the 3 first-person shooters so far, this is the best. I like the story. I know that it is somewhat inaccurate with its World War II representation. I don't particularly care. That's not what I'm necessarily looking for with a Battlefield game. But the multiplayer was a lot of fun. A lot of those maps are very memorable. I remember there's one that's like an airfield base with 3 of those domes, sort of plane hangars in the middle. And then there's kind of like a wide ridge on either side that snipers like to hang out on. Stuff like that was a lot of fun. The campaign is actually pretty tricky. If you're like me, you didn't know about the difficulty exploit, so you actually played the entire thing on hard. And some of those missions were pretty hard. The one, for example, where you do a lot of skiing, actually pretty difficult when you're playing on the hardest difficulty. I died quite a lot doing that one, but I actually really liked Battlefield 5. Not as much as Battlefield 1. I wish Battlefield 1 was a 100% as well. It would absolutely be on this list, but unfortunately it's not an ultra rare platinum, so we're just leaving it at Battlefield 5 for now. LEGO Worlds. You know, LEGO Worlds nearly ends up in a Resident Evil Resistance rank, but I'm going to put it in rough. It's a rough platinum. This game is essentially LEGO's attempt at a Minecraft clone, and there's some charm here. There's some charm. The characters and things like that are nice. I appreciate the sort of planet biomes, I guess you would call them, but there is really not much else going on here besides just the fact that, oh cool, I can land on a Halloween themed world, or a swamp themed world, or a pirate themed world. Besides these things, there is absolutely nothing going here, and that kind of really drags on when essentially most of the trophy list is, oh, go around the world, find some items, and then do some really weird little events with said items. Like, for example, play all of the instruments, I think is one from memory. Or maybe you had to get a second controller in and play two instruments simultaneously. That's a weird one to me. It was okay, but certainly nothing special. And then the really rough trophy is the get 1 billion studs trophy. So this game doesn't do what all of the rest of the LEGO games do, where you get like brick multipliers. So every time you pick up 1 stud, for example, if you've got the multipliers on, that might be times 150. This game doesn't do that. So you've actually got to get 1 billion studs. And the way you do this is you create a hole in the ground. And I think from memory it's safe. So you're just dropping safes on your head over and over again for 10 hours. And if you're like me, your save file's going to glitch 7 hours in. And then you're going to have to do the entire thing again. So that was miserable. 17 hours roughly for that one trophy of me just pressing X. Now, do bear in mind that you can technically cheese it by getting a turbo controller. That's easier said than done in Australia. I did actually consider it for this trophy after it glitched the first time. But no, I did it legit by just tapping X for 17 hours straight or whatever it was. So LEGO Worlds is definitely going in the rough category here. Sniper Elite 4 is next. Sniper Elite 4. Do I put it in 10 out of 10 or do I... It's going in 10 out of 10 wood plat again. I love Sniper Elite 4. This is a game I played entirely with a very good friend of mine. And because I don't get to play games as much with them anymore due to sort of just, you know, real life getting in the way and time zones and things like that, I do actually sort of hold this platinum and earning this platinum in quite high stance. This was some quite fond memories going for this one. We essentially did the full 100% together, and it was an absolute blast. You know, this is a game where you can either go in quite stealthily or you can go in guns blazing. And so you've got a lot of, you know, one person trying to be stealthy and then the other one going full Leroy Jenkins and creating quite a stir with the enemies. It's a World War II setting. It's a really interesting one. It's sort of set in Italy. You're trying to stop, I believe it is a naval weapon that's being tested out from memory. And the maps are very expansive. There's a lot of different ways to get to your objective. Each map typically has some side objectives you've got to do for trophies. And then you've also got the various different difficulty-based trophies. Probably the hardest thing in Sniper Elite 4, and the reason it is an ultra-rare trophy, is Authentic Mode difficulty. Now, Authentic Mode difficulty, I think from memory, is you take 1 or 2 bullets and you die, so it's a really good idea to play with another player for that, otherwise the level reset. I don't think there's chapter or checkpoints from memory. I think it goes back to the very start of the mission. I do know that Sniper Elite 3 does that definitely, for example. And so this one became a case of one person would hang back and be as safe as possible. That was typically not me because I'm not very talented. And the other person, which was me, would be the weapon guinea pig who would just go out and kill as many enemies as possible before being shot down. Then I would disconnect from the game and rejoin the host who's still hiding out to then go Rambo style back in. It was absolutely hilarious. It was a lot of fun, and for that reason, it's absolutely a 10 out of 10. Also, there's a DLC where you've got to kill a certain World War II military leader in about 17 different ways, and one of those is a testicle shot or something like that, and it is absolutely fantastic. It is hilarious, so that's going 10 out of 10. Tropico 5. That's going in great fun. I really, really like Tropico 5. I actually think it's a fantastic game. This is another one. It's kind of like a city builder / micromanagement sort of game, which is actually a sort of genre and style of game I'm really, really fond of, where you go for a storyline where it's sort of over a number of years. You're sort of progressing through different technological ages, such as the industrial age and things like that. And you're building up a little island paradise and sort of becoming a bit of a dictator or a leader. Sort of you can set policies and taxes and things and military mights and stuff to determine what sort of economy your island has. And I found this a lot of fun to do. The campaign's actually fairly difficult here as well. There's a couple missions that sort of are to do with you being invaded by another island, and you've kind of got to you've kind of got to use whatever you built up in your previous missions, and this can actually be quite difficult, like especially for me, who I was trying to be fairly peaceful through my playthrough, so I didn't really have a massive military might, and when you spawn in this mission, there's a bunch of tanks on your beach, and I was essentially being wiped out straight away, so I really had to very quickly develop a military power to combat this, which was a lot of fun. And the trophies are also really interesting. There's a couple here for, like, you know, creating different generations of your dynasty, avoiding different sort of political scandals and getting out of some of them. Developing all technologies and things like that are really interesting. There is some multiplayer here. It is very easy to boost. I think you can do all of Tropico 5's multiplayer in about half an hour. I certainly did with an alt account of mine. But this is a fantastic one. This is another one I would definitely consider doing again for the channel at some point. And I do really want to do Tropico 6 at some point as well. I do know that it is a bit easier when it comes to the trophies. I think the platinum for Tropico 6, for example, is like a 35% platinum compared to the 3 or 4% that Tropico 5 is. Next up, we've got Call of Duty Cold War. Now, Call of Duty Cold War is... It's another good first-person shooter. You might notice that the first-person shooters are very much dominating our middle ground right now. Now, this one, it does have one really bad trophy, though. It does have one. No, it's going to stay there. That one really bad trophy we'll get to in a second. But Cold War is essentially a Black Ops game set in the Cold War, believe it or not. You've got returning characters. You've got everyone's favourites like Woods and Mason making a return. The zombies in this one is actually a lot of fun. This is a COD Zombies, a rare COD Zombies that I played outside of getting the trophies. The multiplayer I played quite a lot of, just sort of on my own free will. I really like prop hunting Call of Duty games, and this is one that actually has prop hunt, so I really enjoyed that. So I played this one quite a lot. The campaign is good fun. I found it interesting. There's a lot of sort of branching decisions that can affect how things play out. There's even some side missions in this one's campaign, which is sort of weird for a Call of Duty. I didn't mind it, though. I thought that was actually kind of okay. The Spec Ops Zombies, I think it's called. Is that what the side mode's called? That's okay. I think people sort of overhype the difficulty of it these days. The trophy reuniting with Fandalina or whatever it's called. I think people sort of still base its difficulty on its launch version. On launch, you had to do the entire thing in one sitting, and that was about 4.5 hours. However, these days, not only can you just go in different stages, but it also checkpoints you every couple of stages. So if you do game over, you go back to whatever the checkpoint is that you've unlocked, I believe. I think I did the entire thing in like an afternoon. It's sort of in segments, and it really wasn't too bad at all. The one trophy that lets this Call of Duty down is the Fire Team trophy in multiplayer, where you need to get a full squad wipe in Squad's Fire Team, which is a limited time mode at the best of times, and is also very, very dead, so good luck getting that. I believe a squad is like 4 players as well. There is occasionally a limited mode that's 2 players. That, I think, is how I got that trophy, because I certainly didn't boost this game. I got that naturally, which it's not a flex, trust me. Really wasn't that difficult, because I'm pretty sure I did it in duos and just killed 2 dudes as they were running towards me. But these days, to get that trophy, I think you need about 16 players in a lobby, so a lot of nightmare boosts have been made as a result of Call of Duty Ghosts. We then get Lego 2K Drive. Now, this one, for me, I'm going to put it in rough as well. I like Lego Worlds for what it tried to do. It's a Lego racing game. I also apologize if you can hear Wowsy, my cat in the background. He is having a, I think he's trying to sing the Halo theme song, to be perfectly honest with you. I can just hear him in the background, loving life. But, so, Lego 2K Drive, I think it's a good game. I think the racing in it is tight. I like the fact that you can sort of build your cars out of Lego and stuff. I think that is very, very interesting and a great concept. But, like, 2/3 of your platinum runtime in this is just collectibles and then driving in circles. Whoever made the 6,000 miles trophy, you're a bad person, and you're not getting a Christmas card from Old Symmetry here, because that trophy is essentially just like 20 hours, 25 hours of spinning around in circles on a racetrack, because you're going to get all of the collectibles and do all of the races before you even really have 2,000 miles, which is an insane amount of extra boosting you've got to do on top just for that one trophy. So for that exact reason, it's going in rough. Advanced Warfare, I mean, it's another first-person shooter. It's going into meh. The campaign in this one's alright. Kevin Spacey being the bad guy aged amazingly, actually. The trophies are fairly forgettable. I think a lot of the campaign is just get kills with certain weapons or techniques 10 times, like nothing really truly memorable. Beat the game on veteran. They've all got to beat the game on veteran sort of setting. And Exo Zombies is not great. Shout out to Yuda for carrying me through quite a lot of it. You're an absolute legend, mate, if you are watching this. But it's very forgettable, especially when it comes to a lot of other sort of zombies. And see, I actually quite like the Sledgehammer zombies. I believe this one's made by the same guys that did Infinite Warfare and World War II. If I'm wrong, do correct me in the comments, of course. But yeah, it's going into here. It's very forgettable. Idris Elba's in this game from memory. I think he's one of the soldiers in the campaign. But yeah, this one's forgettable. There's no multiplayer trophies. So I think, you know what? It's going at the top of this one. There's no multiplayer. It's just campaign and then Exo Zombies, and I think that offers a lot more than some of the grindy stuff that pops up in these. You know what? It's also going above there as well. And while we're at it, Lego 2K Drive is definitely better than Lego Worlds, and Cold War is better than Battlefield 5, absolutely. Amnesia Collection, that's going into 10 out of 10 would play again. Does it go in there or does it go in great fun? No, it goes in 10 out of 10 would play it again. I love Amnesia just purely for the Dark Descent. This collection has the Dark Descent's DLC, which I believe is called Jasmine or Jessica or something like that. And then, of course, Machine for Pigs is the second full game in this collection. You have to beat all of them. You have to get the tinder boxes. Yeah, I think it's every single tinder box. You have to beat Justine, I think it might be called, actually. I think the DLC is called Justine. You've got to beat Justine in a couple different sort of scenarios. Different things are affected by time, sort of stuff like that, which is interesting. But this is a very strong entry in horror. Horror is, of course, my favorite genre. And yeah, Amnesia, it sort of inspired a lot of things like Outlast and Alien Isolation, and I can really appreciate and support that. I think it is fantastic. So it's going in 10 out of 10. Would play it again. Alrighty, and the next game we have here is Jurassic World Evolution 2. This is an easy 10 out of 10 would play it again, and you know what, it's the highest of the three so far. I love Jurassic World Evolution 2. This is a park builder, think like Zoo Tycoon, for example, where you build out a dinosaur park. The trophies are very fun and very challenging. Essentially, you got to do a lot of challenge modes. These are sort of about 6 or 7 hour scenarios where you're fighting against the literal weather and also just various different conditions to build out a park and get 5 stars with it. And I really enjoyed these. I enjoyed sort of developing tactics that would work on some maps versus wouldn't work on others. I had a really, really good tactic of just going sort of with select species for a little while, and then that started to not work for me, so I sort of had to adapt. And things like that are a lot of fun to me. Like I said with Tropico 5, this is a sort of style of game I absolutely adore. I love these sort of city builders and park builders and things like this, even like TRPGs and stuff like that. And so this was right up my alley. I loved that one of the trophies you had to complete the database for, and there's not really a guide for it, so I sort of had to work out how to get some of the injuries myself, and some of them, like I believe it was the ingrown toenail, for example, actually took me quite a lot of trial and error to work out, which was a lot of fun in sort of a day and age where a lot of your trophy hunting is very guide-based. I sort of had to work these out myself, and I couldn't really rely on a guide, which I did find actually quite a lot of fun. Aliens Fireteam Elite. You know what? It's at the very top of 10 out of 10. Would play it again. But back-to-back top tier, you'll love to see it. I also really like that tier is top-heavy right now. I'm sure that's about to end. But Fireteam Elite, it's a fantastic game. It's kind of like a Left 4 Dead clone, but with the Alien universe. As I said with Predator Hunting Grounds, this is a universe that I absolutely adore. The recent Alien Romulus movie was fantastic, for example. Probably my third favourite movie in the franchise. But yeah, this game was a lot of fun. I played this with two of my very, very good friends. This is, I would say, the equal most enjoyable I've ever had going for trophies with friends. So it's absolutely 10 out of 10. And it is a challenge. We worked out some sort of, I guess, cheese builds to kind of make our lives easier going for those higher difficulties. And yes, you do have to play every single difficulty standalone because they don't stack. However, I did find the game enjoyable enough to do this, and I did find that did help with some of the other trophies where you had to level all of the or I think it's 30 guns to max level. So that's helped quite a bit by having to play the campaign a lot anyway. You're going to have to do it. Why not do some extra trophies in there too, just to sort of pad that runtime out without it getting as stale. I really enjoyed this. If you want to see my sort of take on it, I do have a video on the channel from quite a while ago, I believe well over a year, maybe a year and a half ago, back when I was bald. That's how long ago it was, and now I've got whatever this is. I now look like Weird Al Yankovic, but as a trophy hunter. And so yeah, I've got a video for this one. This was my 200th platinum milestone, which was a lot of fun. But I do really recommend this one. This is one I absolutely plan to do a video on some point for the 100% review series. I think this would be a fantastic one to include there. And so it is absolutely the top of the 10 out of 10 so far. MX vs AVT Legends. I grew up with a game called MX vs AVT Unleashed. It's actually on the shelf behind me somewhere there. I really love that game. This game is meh. It's okay. It's definitely not as good. They cut the vehicles down to essentially ATVs, MXs, and like UTV kind of things. They got rid of all the fun stuff like the monster trucks and stuff from back in the day. The soundtrack went from being one of the greatest in a video game period to being very, very, very forgettable. And the trophies are fairly just mid. You've kind of got to go around a very generic open world and get collectibles, and then just kind of play through all of the races and complete them all in first place. Very forgettable, took a couple of days. Don't really see why it's an ultra rare platinum, to be perfectly honest with you. Zombie. Zombie's okay. Zombie's okay. This is a very unique game. A, it's developed by Ubisoft. B, it was a launch title for the Wii U. That's wild. And C, you've got to play 3 times through this game, which, unlike Alien Fireteam Elite, is not fun here, because you essentially do everything the first time and then just have to do it 2 more times. I like some concepts of this game. I like that when you die, the character you're playing becomes a zombie and has all of your equipment on it, and you've got to go find that zombie to get your equipment back. I like that you can potentially lose all of your equipment, and so there is stakes of, oh, I've just died, okay, now I've got to be very careful to get back and get my gear back, otherwise it's gone for good, which is going to make this run difficult. I like some of the zombie types, but that's where the positives end, and the rest of the game is kind of a very muddy looking, boring open or semi-open world zombie game. It launched on the Wii U. It was never going to look amazing, but I probably could expect more from a game like this. I do appreciate it for what it was. That's why it falls into this category. However, everything above it is quite easily above it. Hunt Showdown. It's is it top of rough or is it bottom of rough? You could near end up in Resident Evil Resistance, you know. It's kind of the top of rough. Let's put it in the top of rough. So Hunt Showdown, I like what it is. I like the game at a base level. You and a team of players going into a map to hunt down bosses via clues, fending off enemies on the way, and also fighting off other players that are also in teams to take down that boss to get out to get XP. It's a very fun gameplay loop. But there's 3 maps, about 3 or 4 bosses, and a whole lot of really buggy, boring trophies. I still miserably remember some of the things like there was a trophy for retiring a bunch of characters, but half the time when we loaded into a map, we'd be frozen in place and couldn't move, which meant we had to quit out of the match, which meant we would lose those characters. And when you lose a character, you go back to, like, 0 again. You don't get any XP. There's nothing really gained for that. And it was quite a negative experience, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, it certainly wasn't enjoyable. The game's very pretty. The guns are very fun. I liked some of the character skins. I liked the environments quite a lot, but that's really all I can give it. Like, the actual trophy experience for this, and I played it with the same 2 people I did Alien Fireteam Elite, so, you know, playing with them is an absolute blast. But this game and going for the trophies definitely brought that down. I think it's actually the last game we played together, which is kind of sad. We definitely need to bring back the Dream Team for another Platinum or 2 to redeem this. Now, the next 2 games here are the 2 that I used exploits for. This one you use console commands for to unlock a bunch of stuff, or I believe if you load into someone else's world, it'll pop some of the trophies that they've already set up. I believe that was the case for me with this one, and then I used console commands to get some of the DLC lore collectibles and stuff. Ark Survival Evolved's okay on PC, it's quite fun, but on console it's very, very janky, and to be quite frank, I'm glad that I could use console commands to get it out of the way. Skull, same sort of deal. I used, I believe there's console commands for this as well that let you do level skips to just get to the bosses. I originally started this thinking it would be sort of similar to something like, say, Hollow Knight, which I do quite enjoy. However, it wasn't, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it, so I put it here, which thankfully there is those commands and stuff, because there are things like beating bosses with no hits that, I mean, from the boss fights I played the boss fights legit, and then I did the no hit sort of thing with the exploits, and they weren't particularly fun. So this one definitely gets the used exploits. I can't really talk about it much at all. And speaking of buggy or exploits, we have Mafia 3. Now, Mafia 3 is, I believe, unobtainable if you play this on a digital version on the most recent patch. If you have the game physically and you play it unpatched, then you can get the Platinum Trophy, and I think that's why this gets put in the unobtainable and why it's an ultra rare. I've actually platinumed this twice. I like the game quite a bit, so I think it's going to go to the top of it was okay. It's certainly not on the same caliber as the first 2 Mafia games, which I really, really enjoy. I like this one quite a bit. I really like the setting, and I really like Clay Lincoln as a character. This is another one that I do want to do a reviewer, 100% review on at some point. Still working on a title for that series. 100% review, I think's what I'm going to stick with. But I've been playing around with that name quite a bit. But yeah, the Mafia series is one I think want to do a 100% review for at some point. Mafia 3, it's the open world's good, the setting's good, the trophies are a little boring, you've got to do 2 playthroughs. I don't like that the way you proceed with the story is by doing all of the side content in an area to unlock it. Essentially, you've got to create enough damage and earn enough reputation to kind of lure out the bad guy, and then you get quite a fun story mission. And that sort of brings down the gameplay quite a bit, especially when you figure that the first 2 Mafias have more of a Grand Theft Auto style mission structure to them. But this one is still a lot of fun, and I did really enjoy the 3 DLCs that come with it, so it was okay. Red Dead Redemption 2. You know what? It's going into 10 out of 10 would plat again. And I would plat this again if I had the time to commit another 350 hours into a game. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a funny one. It is probably one of the best stories I've ever played in a game. I love Arthur as a character. I love pretty much everything about the story except Guam, because everyone hates Guam. It's got to go into great fun. I think it's top of great fun. No, Yeah, it's top of great fun. I don't know if I could do this one again. Even if I do want to do a video on it at some point, it'd probably take me like a year and a half to do this one again. The multiplayer is kind of very dead and very boring, but I did enjoy what I did with it. I do fondly remember getting to max level by running around a map picking flowers and picking up coins for a week straight. All of the side stuff in the single player is fun, but very grindy. Things like hunting perfect pelt skunks and things, not particularly great. But I did enjoy the game. It's a phenomenal story. Definitely my favorite Rockstar game. Probably one of my favorite stories of all time. But I will say, I do find Rockstar gameplay to be kind of mid sometimes. And definitely feels a little bit dated. I think it sort of very much feels like Grand Theft Auto 4, which came out in 2008, for example. We then have Fall Guys. Now, Fall Guys goes into great fun as well. I did really like Fall Guys. This is a game that periodically I go back to and play with mates just for fun. Infallible, obviously, is a notorious trophy. This is a trophy that I earned via the cheese, where you could, I believe it was if you just did a custom game, you could pop the trophy. And so a whole bunch of us just got into a custom game and won 5 games in a row 5 times. However, I will say these days that trophy's actually quite easy to get. I wouldn't even say it's the most difficult trophy these days, in that there's a lot of modes where they're race modes and you're just playing that specific race. And if you can just finish, like, it doesn't even matter if you come first, if you can just be one of the people to finish and not be eliminated 5 times in a row, you will pop that trophy, which makes it very easy. I've done it quite a bit these days. I will say the most difficult trophy these days is getting the legendary outfits. They used to be tied to a battle pass that was free that you'd sort of unlock as you leveled up by playing the game. Now it's very paid. I think you can earn it the free way still, but it takes a considerably longer amount of time compared to just spending real money on it. No, I've got a frown on that. That's why it's sort of at the lower end of great fun. Chivalry 2. Chivalry 2. Where do I want to put you, Chivalry 2? You know what? You're at the very top of... Oh, yeah, you're at the very top of It Was Okay. I love Chivalry 2. I love the gameplay of this one. This is a first, all third person, all chaos medieval simulator where 2 great armies battle it out, typically in a siege situation where one side is defending and one side is attacking. And I really like it. I really like the gameplay. I think there's a lot of potential here, but geez, these trophies are rough. You've got to beat every single map 25 times. That takes a while. Each map, if you're playing it legit, typically takes around sort of 20 to 30 to 40 minutes. I think if you just use bots and you kind of just let the game play out and switch teams to whichever one's winning at the end, it's probably closer to maybe like 9 or 10 minutes. However, the data likes to just erase itself periodically. You'll have maps reset your progression. You'll have the kill-based trophies reset on you if you need 2,000 kills and you're 1,700 in, and it resets back to 0. That's very painful, and Chivalry 2 likes to dish that out to people, especially if you are playing on the PS4 version. PS5 version less so. I know personally I didn't really have any issues with these, but I do know they are very, very prevalent. It's going at the top of It Was Okay. This is one I am very tempted to replay again at some point, but for now, I've definitely got higher priorities, and that's why it's going at the top of here. Greedfall. Greedfall's an interesting one. I'm going to put Greedfall also in It Was Okay. I really like Greedfall. I like a lot of what it does. I like its setting. It's a fun open world game. I have a genuine soft spot for spiders as a developer. I think the Technomancer is severely underrated. I think Greedfall's underrated. I think Still Rising's underrated. Still Rising is definitely a better game than this, but this is a better game than Technomancer. So I see improvement with every game they put out, and I really like them as a developer, and they're definitely one that I want to encourage make more stuff, kind of akin to, say, Piranha Bytes, for example. But Greedfall is clunky. It definitely has its shortcomings. This game was a game that eluded me for years when it comes to the Platinum Trophy. Back before guides were a thing, I just could not find how to do one of the endings. I believe there's 4 endings off the top of my head, and one of them is very, very specific as to what you've done to trigger it. But I think this game is very good and charming for what it is. And you know what? It's at the top of it was okay. It's better than all of these games easily. You know what? It's going into great fun, and Tropico 5 is dropping down into... Tropico 5 is dropping below Chivalry 2 just because Chivalry 2 says no, apparently. I don't make the rules. The trophies make the rules. They are my addiction. Send help. But Chivalry 2, it's going at the very bottom of great fun. I've decided it's going up there. And World War 2 is going into 10 out of 10 wood plat again. Probably in 3rd place. I think it's going in 3rd place for this one. I love Call of Duty World War II. This is the other game that is equal to me for the most fun I've ever had playing with friends. The Zombies is actually my favourite Call of Duty Zombies as well. I've played this one quite a lot. I will say the DLC map quality does severely decrease compared to something like Black Ops 3, for example. But I just find the build styles and stuff really, really fun to play. I find that all very interesting. And so for that reason, World War II is getting a 10 out of 10 wood plat again. This is a game I absolutely plan to do a video on at some point because I think it is a very underrated Call of Duty. I like the campaign quite a bit. I think that the campaign suffers from being a very Michael Bay at times, and there being very big over-the-top dramatic explosions, but that's a Call of Duty staple at the same time, and I think that, you know, in terms of World War II shooters, the campaign in this is such a step up from the campaign in this, for example. Absolutely up here. Really like this game. Looking forward to playing it again soon. And it had prop hunt multiplayer. Like I said with Cold War, I love prop hunt in multiplayer. It's my favorite Call of Duty game mode. I still like that every now and then when I load this up, it and gun game are still being played because I have like 300 or 400 hours in those game modes alone. Absolutely fantastic game. Probably prefer these two in terms of just pure games and their trophies. But yeah, it's definitely 3rd place. Bulletstorm. Bulletstorm's going into it was okay. I like Bulletstorm. I probably put it there. I think it's middle of the pack for it was okay. It's a very fun game with a lot of emphasis on different types of kills, which is very unique. There's a little bit of multiplayer in here, a little bit of time attacks and score attacks where you've got to sort of beat these little missions with a certain number of points in a certain amount of time. And so there is some variety to the trophies. I think you've got to do 2 playthroughs from memory. And there is, of course, that DLC where you can play as Duke Nukem, which is a lot of fun. But besides that, it just kind of falls into that sort of 2010 shooter sort of thing. There's a lot of very familiar mechanics here. And as a result, I think this one definitely deserves its spot at middle of the pack there. Star Wars Battlefront 2. Meh, it's okay. I'd probably put it about there in terms of meh. It's the first-person shooter, the first-person campaign, is very forgettable. I didn't really enjoy it at all, to be perfectly honest with you. But the multiplayer is a lot of fun. Even the space combat is a lot of fun. There are some difficult sort of trophies tied to it. And leveling up to max level takes way too long. Definitely exploit the Triple XP Wednesdays if they're still doing those. But besides that, it was alright. I'm glad I did it, but I don't really, remember too much of it as a result. WWE 2K Battlegrounds. So the final 4 games here don't have platinum trophies, but they do have ultra rare trophies in their 100% completion, which is why I am considering them. They would be an ultra rare platinum if they had an ultra rare platinum, and I'm someone who really appreciates just 100% without the platinums. I think that they definitely deserve a lot more love than they are given, and so they are being represented on this list too. In saying that, WWE 2K Battlegrounds is a steaming pile of garbage. This game is very unresponsive, very not fun. You play through kind of a very generic storyline where you're just versing WWE wrestlers, namely from the late 2010s. Think, your Johnny Morrisons and people like that. The Miz comes up quite a bit. There's a really, really nasty cage map with Ember Moon of all people that is absolutely rough and is definitely one of the sort of 100% stoppers, you might say, one of the sort of hurdles that's really going to hit people. But one of the big things is it's just so unresponsive and so boring to play. The second multiple wrestlers get into a match, it's game over. It just takes forever. The game itself is relatively short. You could beat this in about 8 hours, I would say, but it's not worth it. It's at the bottom of rough. I would do Lego Worlds again before I would do this. Watch me now not do that and do 2K Battlegrounds again at some point where I'm like, oh, I've got an afternoon, let's smash this out. Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares is going very high up in great fun. I love the first Little Nightmares. I love the second Little Nightmares. But this one has an ultra rare trophy in Hard to the Core, wherein you need to beat the game in under an hour without dying. I have a video of that on this channel from years and years and years ago. Again, back when I was bald and didn't look like Weird Al Yankovic. But an Aussie Yankovic, that is something scary, I must say. But Little Nightmares, definitely the top of, or towards the higher sort of side of great fun. I love my horror games, I love my creepy atmospheres, and this is absolutely oozing in both, so it deserves its spot. Hawken is, meh, it's okay. I didn't really think much of it. By the time I played the game, it was fairly dead. I also did all of the trophies in about an hour, because what you can do is you can log in and just do the daily rewards for like a month to earn enough money to then just buy all the mechs. In saying that, I did play a bit of the actual game itself at the time as well. I'd hop in and do like a match or two at a time, and that was kind of pretty fun. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty dated. It's a mech shooter, and if I'm going that direction, I'm going Titanfall 2, for example. And the last game on the list is Rumbleverse, which I think is made by the same people that did Fortnite, and which one do I want to put it in? You know what? It's going at the bottom of meh. It's worse than Hawken. In fact, Hawken's better than MX versus AVT. You know, Hawken's better than COD Ghosts and Killzone Shadowfall. It's not better than Battlefield 2 or Battlefront 2. Sorry, but Rumbleverse is better than ATV Legends. I liked what this game tried to do. It was a sort of more colourful, cutesy battle royale with an emphasis on melee instead of guns. I liked a lot of the sort of power-ups where you'd fly in the air and sort of grand slam the ground and stuff. That was a lot of fun. There's only a couple trophies in here, and this is unobtainable due to server closures. In fact, 2 of these platinums are unobtainable now that I think about it. Rumbleverse and Hunt Showdown are both unobtainable now. I think they're the only ones here. I think Predator Hunting Grounds is still up. I know it did, like Hunt Showdown, get a PS5 version at some point, but I think it is still up, whereas this was shut to make way for the PS5 version. But that's all of my games, and I must say it is a very fun list here. I think there's a good spread. I do like that ultimately there is quite a massive spread in terms of games, and there's a lot of sort of better ultra rare trophies I've gone for than worse, you might say. I enjoyed most of the positive platinums outweighed the negative platinums is what I'm trying to say, and I think that's a fantastic thing for this list. But let me know what your top 5 ultra rare platinums would be, and let me know if you've played any of these yourself, how you'd sort of rank them around. I'm sure a couple of my 10 out of 10 would play it again platinums surprise people. I'm actually sure all 5 of these would surprise people as being at the top. I'm sure a lot of people would expect Red Dead 2 to be in there instead. And I mean, give or take the day, I'd probably have it in there as well. But that's been my list. Let me know what you've also been playing most recently. And I'll see you on the next video. I miss you already. Goodbye.